Revealed, the incredible journey to heartwarming love after losing him for 5 long years. Sarah poured the steaming coffee into a chipped mug, her hands shaking slightly as she caught the scent of freshly brewed dreams mingling with bittersweet memories. The quaint cafe buzzed with laughter, small-town gossip flowing like the creek behind her childhood home. She glanced at the framed photo of her husband on the wall, a local veteran whose smile could light up even the cloudiest of Midwestern days. 5 years had passed since that fateful day when she lost him, yet the echo of his love still lingered in every corner of her mind. "Hey, you've got a new customer," called out Betty from her usual corner table, her voice warm and inviting, though layered with whispers of judgment. The town had opinions, oh, how they loved their opinions. She'd heard the quiet murmurings about her, questioned whether she deserved the town's sympathy or support as a single mother running the cafe and raising their spirited 8-year-old, Lily. But today brought a spark of hope that felt like sunlight breaking through dark clouds. As she approached the table, heart pounding, she caught sight of a familiar face, just as familiar as the free-spirited soul of her daughter.
Ben.
Her childhood friend, back from the big city after years of chasing dreams. His presence ignited feelings she thought she had buried deep, the kind that twisted in her chest, both thrilling and terrifying. They locked eyes, and for a moment, the world faded away. "Sarah, is that you?" His smile was like a warm hug, and she felt herself lighten, almost dance at the sight of him. They fell into conversation as easily as breathing, sharing laughter over cups of coffee, weaving through stories of their past and the burdens of the present. Meanwhile, the town buzzed and whispered. News travels fast in a place like this. Some were supportive of her rekindled friendship, rallying behind her strength. Others? They whispered harsh thoughts hidden beneath what they claimed as concern. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening," Sarah interjected, her heart racing. "YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference." Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Taking a deep breath, she returned to Ben's magnetic gaze. They spoke of dreams and old wounds. It opened up a door she feared had been bolted shut. But just as hope filled her heart, a voice broke the spell. "What are your intentions, Sarah? Does this man really understand your pain?" She felt the air grow heavy and her heart sink. The question sliced through her newfound warmth. Grief and guilt rose like a tide within her, battling against the fragile bloom of possibility. Would she have to choose between holding on to the past and stepping into a future that seemed more, well, alive than she had allowed herself to feel in years? In that crowded cafe, with both love and judgment swirling around her, she stood frozen, torn between loyalty and the flickering flame of hope. Would she be brave enough to dance with that spark? Or would the town's biases and her own fears snuff it out before it ever had the chance to shine? The weight of the question lingered like a storm cloud above her. Sarah glanced at Ben, whose face mirrored the confusion clouding her thoughts. He'd opened a door she dared not approach, and now a mix of warmth and fear coursed through her veins.
"So, what do you think?"
he asked gently, his voice low to cut through the cafe's chatter. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of his presence blend with the coolness of reality. I think that is complicated." She shook her head, trying to gather her thoughts. "It's not just about me anymore. I have Lily and I still care about Jonathan." Ben's expression shifted. He leaned back slightly, processing her words, and she could almost see the wheels turning in his mind. "You mean to say you're afraid to move on? That you feel guilty for even considering it?" Their connection was palpable, but pasted over it was an undeniable tension.
"Yes. No.
It's messy, Ben. I can't just jump into something new. People will talk." He reached forward, his hand brushing against hers, a warm reminder of friendship. "But aren't you allowed to feel something?" To find joy again? Don't you think Jonathan would want that for you? Silence enveloped them, the kind filled with unspoken hopes and fears. It's been so long since I felt anything like this. Her voice broke, a glimpse of vulnerability surfacing. What if it's just me clinging to a moment of comfort? I don't want to hurt anyone. By living? By finding happiness? He asked softly. You both loved each other. That one tea change. But isn't it time to allow yourself a life that includes more than just memories? His words resonated deeper than she had expected. The storm inside her began to calm, if only a little. Sarah's throat tightened as she fought against the wave of emotion. Could she really, truly step forward into the unknown? Around them, the cafe buzzed with life, laughter spilling into the air, reminding her of the normalcy she yearned for. But at that moment, all she could perceive was this connection with Ben that felt as right as the rising sun but still shrouded in the shadows of loss. A sudden shout from across the room made both of them jump. It was Lily, her bright laughter cutting through the melancholy. She was mingling with a small group of children who had come in for hot chocolate. The innocence of their joy ignited something inside Sarah, an urge to protect that smile, to show Lily that life continues, evolving in unpredictable ways.
See?
Ben said, a softness in his voice. Your heart still beats. Life happens, even in the smallest moments. You can embrace it or stay stuck. The boldness in his gaze stirred something in her, an undeniable urge to follow the flame of hope. Even while her past still cast a long shadow, her heart raced with an intoxicating mix of possibility and fear. Would she really allow herself to navigate this new chapter alongside someone who could understand her journey? As Sarah pulled her hand back, she felt lighter than she had in years. Okay, maybe I need to learn how to dance with this spark. Just then, the cafe door swung open, and a cold wind swept through, momentarily chilling the air. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the chill seep into her bones, whispering doubts that threatened to pull her back. When she opened them again, a woman entered, her presence striking and filled with authority. The gaze of the stranger swept over the cafe, and Sarah felt a jolt of unease. Who was she, and why did it feel like everything was about to change? The door to the past was open, but so was the one to the future. What awaited her on the other side? The woman stood at the entrance, her eyes scanning the room with an intensity that made Sarah's heart skip. There was something about her, perhaps it was the way she carried herself, or the deep lines etched on her face that hinted at stories untold.
Who was that?
Sarah whispered, barely audible above the din. Ben turned to look, his brow furrowing. I don't know, but she seems familiar, doesn't she? Before Sarah could answer, the woman strode forward, her heels clicking against the tiled floor like an urgent drumbeat. A sense of familiarity washed over Sarah, but she couldn't place it. Did she really know this stranger? As the woman approached their table, a spark of recognition flickered in her eyes. Sarah, the woman said, her voice smooth yet commanding. It's been a long time. Sarah's breath caught. Do I know you? The woman smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. You don't remember me? I'm Anna, she said, extending a hand. From the support group 5 years ago. The name struck Sarah like a bolt of lightning. Anna had been a lifeline in those heavy days, someone who had cradled her pain and shared her own. But the memories were buried under layers of grief now, and she had thought of that chapter as closed. I am sorry, Sarah stammered, forcing herself to shake Anna's hand. I didn't recognize you. Most people don't, Anna replied, a shadow passing over her face. I've changed, but I'm still doing my best to help others like us. She glanced at Lily, who was oblivious to the adult conversation, her laughter still bright in the cafe's atmosphere. Is that Lily? Anna asked, her voice softening as she looked at the little girl. She's beautiful. How old is she now? 6, Sarah replied, her heart swelling with pride.
Time goes by so fast.
Anna nodded, her gaze drifting to Ben. And this? She didn't need to finish the question. The air around them thickened with an unspoken tension, a reminder of the complexity of every relationship. This is Ben, Sarah said, feeling the heat rising to her cheeks. Yes, a friend. Nice to meet you, Ben offered, his tone friendly, though Sarah could see the wariness in his expression. Anna turned her attention back to Sarah, studying her closely. You look different. Better, maybe? Thanks, Sarah said, though she felt a pang of uncertainty. She wasn't sure how to interpret the compliment. Just then, a wave of children rushed past them, laughter and energy radiating through the cafe. Sarah couldn't help but smile. Lily's joy was infectious. But Anna's presence reminded her of a past she had tried so hard to leave behind. I didn't expect to see you here, Anna continued, lightness filling her tone. I've been looking for you, actually.
Why?
Sarah asked, her stomach tightening with dread. Because I think it's time for you to hear something. Something that can change how you see everything. Anna leaned closer, lowering her voice as if to shield their conversation. What happened 5 years ago, it wasn't just an accident. There's more to the story, and it's connected to a bigger picture. A chill ran down Sarah's spine. Everything she had fought to keep buried suddenly felt like it was resurfacing. This was the last thing she wanted to revisit. The ghosts that haunted her were not something she would ever willingly reopen. What do you mean? She asked, her eyes wide, her heart racing. Anna's expression shifted. Determination mingled with something softer, something sympathetic. You deserve to know the truth, Sarah. You've been carrying this weight alone for too long. The cafe around them faded into a blur, the laughter of children muffled against the pounding in Sarah's chest. Could it be possible? Could the past still have a grip on her present? Or was this just another storm brewing, ready to sweep her off her feet yet again? As the warmth of hope warred with the chill of fear inside her, Sarah realized she stood at yet another crossroads. Are you ready to listen? Anna whispered, her eyes searching Sarah's soul, as if trying to unlock something hidden deep within. Sarah took a shaky breath, her heart teetering. Between two worlds. She felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her, pulling her back, but there was an undeniable spark urging her forward. What was Anna about to unveil that could shift everything she thought she knew? The thought gripped her tightly as she prepared to step forward into the unknown, not knowing if the truth would bring peace or stir up even more chaos. What awaited her beyond the door of revelation? Sarah stared into Anna's eyes, trying to read the depth of emotions swirling within them. The cafe seemed to shrink around her, the laughter and warmth fading away as if a heavy curtain had been pulled tightly, isolating them in moments of history and unspoken truths. Is this about what happened to Lucas? Sarah finally asked, her voice trembling. The name felt foreign yet familiar on her tongue, dragging her back to the darkest days of her life. She felt the warmth in her cheeks turn cold, a shiver rippling down her spine at the mention of the past. Anna flinched slightly, but it wasn't just a physical reaction. There was compassion in her eyes, a shared sorrow that resonated with the silence of sympathetic understanding.
Yes.
It's about more than just him. It's about you, and the burden you've carried ever since. Every protective wall Sarah had built around her heart threatened to crack. The truth was something she didn't want to face. She had spent years shielding herself from the memories, choosing to believe that closing that chapter meant forgetting. Yet here was Anna, a reminder that the pages were still waiting to be turned. Why now? Sarah pressed, her voice barely above a whisper. Why do you want to tell me this now? Because I think you're ready, Anna replied, her tone firm yet gentle. You've made it this far, Sarah, but you're still haunted by the shadows of those days. It's time for you to reclaim your life, your happiness. Lily, sensing the tension, looked up from her cup of hot chocolate, her big brown eyes wide with innocence. Falling silent, she pushed her drink aside, falling into a childlike curiosity that contrasted sharply with the heaviness in the air. Anna continued, there are things I couldn't share before. Things I found out after the group ended. The more I learned, the more I understood that what happened was tangled with choices, secrets, and secrets. Sarah interrupted, heart hammering as dread filled her stomach. Yes, Anna said, her voice softer now, as if afraid to unleash what had been buried for far too long. The truth goes deeper than you think, and there are people involved who played a role. You need to know that you were never alone in this. A rush of conflicting emotions coursed through Sarah: fear, anger, helplessness, and a flicker of hope. Did she really want to dig through the rubble of her past? The thought terrified her. But there was also a yearning, a desperate need to understand what had happened to the life she once knew. Without taking her eyes off Anna, Sarah turned to Ben. He was watching her, the concern etched across his face, silently urging her to consider what she was about to do. Maybe Anna was right. Maybe uncovering the truth could finally free her from the chains of sorrow that still bound her. "Can we talk somewhere private?" Sarah asked suddenly, her heart racing with a mixture of anxiety and resolve. She didn't want to share this pain in front of Lily, who was blissfully unaware of the storm swirling around her. "Of course," Anna replied, a flicker of relief flashing in her eyes. As they moved towards a quieter corner of the cafe, Sarah could feel the ground shift beneath her feet. She was stepping beyond the illusion of certainty, beyond the realm of comfort she had built, and into a reality she had long wanted to forget. With every step, a part of her silently screamed to turn back, to retreat into the safety of ignorance. Yet another part, braver and bolder, propelled her forward with a promise of understanding. As they settled into a secluded booth, Anna leaned in close. "You deserve to hear the truth," she said, eyes glistening with empathy and urgency. "Are you ready for whatever this unveil might bring?" Taking a deep breath, Sarah nodded, wrestling with the tremors of fear and anticipation dancing in her chest. She had no idea how what Anna was about to share would shatter her world or help her heal, but she knew this was a turning point. Something had to give. Could facing her past, no matter how painful, finally lead her toward the future she had been afraid to claim? This time, she wasn't going to hide. The door to her past was about to swing open, and she braced herself for the waves of change that might just come crashing in. What would she learn about Lucas and about herself when the truth finally emerged? Sarah felt a knot tightening in her stomach as Anna's gaze pierced through to her very soul. The quiet bustle of the cafe faded into the background, leaving behind only the sound of their breathing, quickened by the weight of anticipation. "Lucas," Anna started, her voice carefully measured. "He was involved in things no one understood. Things that led to what happened." The way Anna spoke sent chills down Sarah's spine. Each word seemed carefully chosen, as though she were handling fragile glass. "What do you mean?" The words rushed out of Sarah, desperation edging her voice. "Before the accident, there was a group with ties to people in our neighborhood. They were involved in something dangerous." Anna hesitated, searching for the right way to phrase it. "Lucas was caught up in it, Sarah. He wanted to help, but what?" Sarah pressed, her pulse throbbing in her ears. "There were choices made. Choices that seemed right at the time but ultimately led to pain." Anna's eyes glimmered, the weight of her own pain and regret mixing with the compassion she offered Sarah. "He didn't make those choices alone. People were manipulating him." Sarah's heart pounded as she absorbed this. Lucas had always been the protector, the one who shielded her from the world. The idea that he had been entangled in something beyond his control shattered what was left of her already fragile heart. "But why didn't I know?" "Because," Anna replied gently, "he wanted to shield you from it. He thought it would be safer to keep you in the dark. He loved you too much to involve you in that darkness." The revelation struck Sarah hard. So he knew it was dangerous? The thought twisted in her mind. He must have carried that burden alone, just as she had. "Yes, but he wanted to protect you. He thought he could handle it all." Until Anna's voice broke, carrying the weight of guilt and remorse that echoed in Sarah's own heart. The room seemed to constrict, wrapping Sarah in a suffocating silence. It felt as if the truth held its breath, waiting for her next move, the enormity of Lucas's choices swirling like a tempest around her. She had spent so long wishing for answers, for closure, but now that they were laid bare before her, they felt like jagged edges cutting into her spirit. Did anyone else know? The question slipped from her lips, a quiet desperation mingled with faint hope. "Some, but it was all hush-hush." There are people you trusted who were involved. I didn't realize until after the group, and even after what happened, I was too scared to say anything. Sarah's thoughts raced as she considered Anna's words.
Who?
Her voice trembled, the feeling of betrayal slithering in. I can't tell you right now, Anna replied, her expression shifting to one of hesitation and fear. It's not just about the past, it involves your life now, and I need to be certain you're ready for it all. Feeling the walls close in on her, Sarah clenched her fists. I'm ready. What else is there? She searched Anna's face for more answers, clutching desperately to the thread of control. Anna exhaled slowly, her eyes a mixture of dread and reassurance. There are some unresolved feelings, connections that might change everything for you. Facing this head-on is going to challenge how you've seen life since that day. Sarah's breath hitched. What are you saying? Sometimes, in discovering our truth, we dig up more than we bargained for, she said softly, holding Sarah's gaze steadily. But it can also set us free. The certainty of Anna's words sent ripples through Sarah's heart, fanning the embers of courage buried inside her. What were those connections? What secrets had remained hidden? With an impulsive spark of determination, she breathed deeply and replied, I want to know everything. Anna's nod was solemn, the atmosphere thick with the uncharted territory ahead. As she prepared to share the deeper truths, a flicker of hope danced in Sarah's chest. Could these revelations light a new path where shadows once loomed? But as the cafe buzzed back to life around them, Sarah felt the weight of the journey ahead press on her shoulders. Would she be ready for what lay beneath the surface? And as Anna met her gaze, ready to unveil what had long been hidden, Sarah wondered if she was truly prepared for the heartfelt journey that was about to unfold. Anna leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper, as if the very walls of the cafe might overhear. There's someone else involved, someone who knows a lot more than they let on. Her eyes darted around nervously before locking back onto Sarah's. Who? Please, just tell me, Sarah pleaded, her heart racing. The cafe's lively chatter was a distant murmur, the urgency of the moment pulling her deeper into this swirl of confusion and dread. Michael, Anna finally revealed, the name hanging in the air like a thunderclap. Lucas was close to him. They were friends before everything went downhill. The mention of Michael sent a jolt through Sarah. She hadn't seen him in years. Once, he had been a part of their small circle, but the aftermath of that day had driven a wedge between them. Michael? But why would he know anything? He just faded away. Anna sighed, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. He didn't fade away. He distanced himself. You both lost Lucas, but he had a different perspective on the group and their activities. He might have answers, but he also had his own battles. The weight of Anna's words pressed heavy on Sarah's chest. Doubts flickered inside her. Michael had always seemed a little lost, a little broken in the wake of Lucas's death. Was he the right person to reach out to? A mix of anger and sadness made her stomach churn. I don't even know if I can talk to him, Sarah admitted, the doubt creeping in like a shadow. What if he doesn't want to help? What if he does? Anna interjected, urgency filling her tone. You can't let fear dictate your path, Sarah. If there's a chance that he knows something that might uncover the truth about what happened to Lucas, you owe it to yourself to find out. The words resonated within Sarah. She touched her heart, feeling the familiar scars mix with the new heartbeat of determination. You're right. I need to know. Silence enveloped them once more, heavy with unspoken feelings, both fierce and fragile. Finally, Sarah broke it, her mind racing. Where can I find Michael now? He's still around, but I can't say for sure where. He comes to the park sometimes, I think, near that old oak tree where you all used to hang out. As the place flickered in her memory, a pang of nostalgia and longing swept through her. The laughter, the warmth, the easy times spent under the sprawling branches filled her mind. But those days felt so far away, almost like a dream. Sarah took a deep breath, summoning the strength that had lain dormant for years. Then I'll go find him. The determination in her voice ignited a spark within Anna too. And I'll help you, but only if you're ready to hear everything he has to say, Sarah. There are things that could change how you see your life now. I want to know, Sarah confessed, her voice steady. Whatever it takes. As they left the cafe, shadows danced around them, but Sarah felt a flicker of light pushing through. It was a small flame, yet it filled her with purpose as they stepped into the cool air. Yet, as Sarah walked toward the park, the fluttering of hope clashed with the weight of uncertainty. What awaited her in that place filled with memories? Would the truth set her free, or deepen the scars that already marked her heart? The path lay ahead, shrouded in mystery, and as Sarah clutched her jacket tighter against the chill, the question lingered: was she truly ready for what Michael might reveal? The park loomed ahead, a familiar yet distant sanctuary. As Sarah and Anna stepped onto the grass, the sound of laughter and playful barks floated through the air, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions brewing inside Sarah. With each step, memories washed over her, vibrant recollections of sunny days and boundless laughter, where innocence hadn't been overshadowed by grief. "Do you want me to come with you?" Anna asked, her voice a gentle nudge against the weight of Sarah's silence. "No," Sarah responded, shaking her head. "I think I need to do this alone." The decision felt heavy, yet somehow liberating. She needed to face Michael, to confront the past that still haunted her. The old oak tree stood tall in the distance, its gnarled branches reaching out like welcoming arms. As she approached, her heart raced, an unsteady mix of anticipation and fear. Would Michael even want to see her? After all this time, would he recognize the girl who had once shared dreams and secrets beneath this very tree? As she neared, she spotted him sitting on a bench nearby, his figure slightly hunched. The years had altered him. His hair was longer, and shadows danced beneath his eyes, hinting at battles that had left their mark. Taking a deep breath, Sarah braced herself. "Michael?" she called, her voice trembling slightly. He looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Sarah?" He seemed almost unsure, as if trying to reconcile the moment with the memories of their shared past.
"Can we talk?"
She took a hesitant step closer, her heart pounding in her ears. "Sure," he replied, gesturing to the empty space beside him. She sat down, and for a moment, silence wrapped around them like a blanket. "I've missed you," she finally said, vulnerability seeping through her words. "I missed you too," he admitted softly, his gaze dropping. "Things have been hard since Lucas died," she finished for him, feeling the familiar sting in her chest. "I want to understand what really happened. Anna mentioned that you might know more about it." At the mention of Lucas, Michael's expression hardened briefly, a flicker of anger or pain flashing across his face. Then, just as quickly as it came, he looked away, lost in thought. "I never wanted to hurt anyone, Sarah. I was just trying to cope." "What do you mean?" Her heart raced. "You were close to him. You must have known something." He shook his head, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I didn't know everything, okay? But I do know that there was more going on than we realized." The vulnerability in his tone surprised her, raw and honest. "What do you mean?" "I saw things that made me step back, fly under the radar. It was dangerous." He hesitated, his fingers nervously playing with the frayed hem of his pants. "Dangerous?" Sarah urged, leaning in. "What are you talking about?" "They were involved in something bigger. Lucas, he was too trusting." "I was scared, Seth." His voice faltered, and Sarah caught a glimpse of the fear, the grief, and shame had etched into his features. "Scared of what?" she pressed, desperate for answers. "Of losing you all, of losing myself." His gaze returned to her, filled with unspoken sadness. "And then it happened, I didn't know how to help." The pain behind his words settled in her heart like a weight. Michael was hurting too, and maybe he had been a prisoner of his own fears just like she had. Silence enveloped them again, but this time it felt different. It was thick with understanding, with unspoken desires for healing. Whatever Lucas's death had left behind was still echoing in their lives. "Can you tell me everything?" Sarah asked softly, her voice almost a whisper. He looked deep into her eyes, and she could see the conflict there. But more than that, She could sense the flicker of hope igniting somewhere within him. Just as he seemed ready to share, the familiar sounds of the park faded around them like a ghostly reminder. "Sarah, there's something you need to understand first," and with those words, as her heart raced in anticipation, she braced herself for the truth that could change everything.
Was
This the moment she'd been waiting for? Was she finally ready to face the shadows of the past and bring them into the light, or would it only lead her deeper into the darkness? "Sarah, there's something you need to understand first." Michael's voice broke through the tense silence, and the weight of his words settled like lead in Sarah's stomach. Her pulse quickened, and she leaned closer, desperate for answers, but terrified of what those answers might hold. Michael took a deep breath, his brows knitting together as if preparing for impact. It wasn't just an accident. Lucas was mixed up in something. Something dangerous, yes, but it was also something that could have, and should have been avoided. Sarah's mind raced, trying to process his revelation. "What do you mean? What was he involved in?" Her voice cracked, the knot tightening in her throat. "He got too close to people who were, I don't know, bad news," Michael admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "It wasn't just about freedom and fun anymore. There were choices that were made, choices that led to where we are today." Sarah's breath hitched. "Choices? What kind of choices?" He looked away, anguish etching deeper lines into his face. "I wished he had listened to me. I tried to warn him, but he thought he could handle it. He didn't see the danger until it was too late." A chill swept through Sarah, a stark contrast to the warmth of the early afternoon sun. What didn't he see? What were they planning? Fear clawed at her, intertwining with her need for the truth. Michael hesitated, eyes clouded with guilt and regret. There were whispers about drugs, money, not just petty stuff, but serious crime. Lucas was too naive, too trusting, thinking he could help or fix things. I stood back, believing he'd pull away when it got too heavy. But he didn't. And then his voice broke, the sorrow in his eyes unmistakable. "And then he died," she finished for him, understanding dawning like a dark shadow. "Did you see what happened? Were you there?" "I was there," he admitted, his voice trembling. "But I didn't intervene. I was scared, Sarah. Scared of what would happen if I stepped in, of what they would do to me, to you, to all of us. I didn't want to lose anyone else. I didn't want to let my own fear drive a wedge between us." Anger flooded through Sarah, her heart wrestling with confusion.
you were supposed to protect him?
"We all were."
How could you stand by?
"I thought it was too late," he yelled, the rawness of his emotions erupting like a volcano. "I thought if I stayed away, I could keep you safe. But you need to understand, it ate me alive to see him slip further away. I never wanted you to hurt like this. All I felt was my own failure." Her heart ached at his confession. There was an intensity in his gaze, and for the first time, she saw a glimmer of the boy she had loved. Still, the betrayal cut deep, leaving a mark that wouldn't easily heal. "What do we do now?" she whispered, the gravity of the situation striking her. "How do we move forward?" "I don't know," he replied, the vulnerability in his voice cutting through her anger like a knife. "But we owe it to Lucas to find out the truth, every ugly, twisted piece of it. I can't go through this without you." For a moment, they sat in silence, the world around them fading as they absorbed this new reality. There was pain, yes, but also a shared determination blossoming between them. She wanted answers, and so did he. They had a long road ahead, but together they might finally unearth the truth. And just as the hope began to spark in Sarah's chest, a distant shout echoed across the park, breaking their fragile moment. "Michael! Sarah! We need to go." They both turned to see Anna rushing towards them, panic in her eyes. "Something has happened. We need to talk, now." A chill ran down Sarah's spine. What more could possibly unfold? Could this day get any heavier? With the weight of the confrontation lingering, she knew they were about to plunge into a deeper darkness that perhaps held the key to everything. Would they have the strength to face whatever came next? Anna reached them, her breaths coming heavy and fast, the urgency in her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. You guys wouldn't believe what I just found out, she panted, glancing over her shoulder as if someone might be following her. What is it? Michael stepped closer, his worry amplifying with each passing second. Sarah felt the surge of adrenaline wash over her, every nerve alive with intensity as if they were standing on the edge of something vast and dangerous. It's about Lucas, Anna said, locking eyes with them both. There were messages on his phone. I didn't want to dig, but her voice faltered, a mixture of fear and determination lurking behind her expression. There are names. Some names we need to know. Names of who? Michael asked, his voice low, almost a growl. People he was involved with. People connected to those whispers you were talking about, Anna replied, her hands trembling slightly. I didn't know if I should go through his stuff, but I thought, well, you both deserve to know what I found. Sarah's heart sank and soared at the same time. Lucas had known something. He had been caught up in something dangerous, but now there was potential for clarity, a way to understand what had led to his death. What are the names? She pressed, barely able to contain her urgency. Anna hesitated, stealing a glance at Michael. There was a guy named Vince. He's been in and out of trouble. And then there's this woman, Clara. Something felt off about her, like Lucas was in way over his head. The tension in the air thickened, wrapping around Sarah like a shroud. What did they want with him? I'm still trying to piece it together, Anna admitted, her brow furrowing. But there's more, something about a deal gone wrong. He must be known he was in too deep. That's why he didn't tell anyone. He was scared. Silence hung between them, charged and heavy. Sarah felt the weight of their shared grief, but it was tangled within new resolve. We can't let this go. We have to find out what really happened, she whispered, the strength in her voice surprising even her. Michael nodded, his jaw set with determination. Not just for Lucas, but for us too. We need to know the truth. We can't let fear hold us back any longer. Just as the conviction began to bloom in Sarah's chest, the shadows of doubt crept in. What if they were stepping into something too treacherous? What if Lucas's past was more dangerous than they'd imagined? Where do we even start? Anna asked, eyes darting nervously, caught in a web of uncertainty. Michael took a breath, glancing down at his phone. We go to the last place Lucas visited. We have to uncover where he was going on the night everything went wrong. Sarah's stomach tightened into a knot, a mix of fear and determination swirling inside her. Are we really ready for this? She murmured, her voice trembling slightly. We owe it to him, Michael replied firmly, but uncertainty flickered behind his eyes. As they gathered their strength and prepared to leave the park, Sarah felt the looming question hang above them. Were they truly prepared to unveil the darkness that lay ahead? What if they stumbled into the very threat that claimed Lucas's life? With every step, the air thickened with tension, and an unsettling feeling settled in her gut. If they were ready to delve deeper into Lucas's world, what might they unearth? The path ahead was unknown, ripe with possibility and peril. But one thing was clear, things were only going to get more complicated from here. What dark secrets awaited them, and would they be brave enough to face the consequences? Sarah stood at the edge of the park, her heart in a vice as she gathered the courage to dive into the unknown. Anna's revelations hung in the air like an impending storm. The shadows of Lucas's past loomed over them, pulsating with the promise of truth and peril. She exchanged glances with Michael, whose eyes mirrored the whirlwind of hope and fear swirling inside her. Are we really doing this? She asked, though deep down, her heart had already answered. They were on the verge of unearthing the dark secrets that had haunted her for so long. Whatever it takes, Michael replied, his voice steady, yet tension rippled beneath his calm facade. With each step toward the last place Lucas had visited, Sarah could feel the weight of their histories intertwining. The air around them thickened, pregnant with the possibilities of unresolved pain and unanswered questions. Memories of laughter and happiness under the old oak tree faded, replaced by the gravity of their mission. As they approached the abandoned warehouse that had clung to Lucas's whispers, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into a trap. What if someone is still here? She whispered, the fear tinging her voice as they neared the entrance. "We'll be careful," Michael reassured, though she noticed the way his hands trembled slightly. They pushed open the creaky door, the stale air enveloping them like a thick black mist. Dust motes danced in the beams of light that cracked through broken windows, illuminating forgotten memories trapped within the walls, and then they heard it muffled voices echoing from deep within the shadows. Her breath caught in her throat. They weren't alone. The reality of the danger sank in. "Stay close," Michael ordered, motioning for Sarah to follow him. They crept towards the source of the sound, every instinct screaming for them to turn back. As they reached the dimly lit room, Sarah felt her heart pound loudly in her ears. A group of rough-looking individuals surrounded a table littered with papers and shady-looking objects. "They must be involved with whatever Lucas got into," Anna whispered, eyes wide with realization. Suddenly, one of the men raised his voice. "I thought I told you to keep him in line." A chill ran down Sarah's spine. It was clear they were discussing Lucas. And right then, every shred of fear transformed into a fire. She had to confront this. "We need to find out what they know," she said, determination fueling her voice. "What if they see us?" Michael murmured, worry etched in his features. "Then we won't leave without answers," Sarah replied fiercely. They crept into the shadows, ears straining to catch every word. The conversation spiraled around betrayal, secrets, and a deal gone wrong. Names flashed like lightning in her mind: Vince, Clara, Lucas. The pieces began to fit together as the reality of their entanglement became clearer. "I knew he was too soft," one of the men sneered. "Thought he could play us. That kid was destined to mess up." Sarah's blood boiled. "They destroyed him," she breathed, her heart heavy with grief. Just then, one of them stood up, scanning the room. "We can't let anyone know what happened here. Not even her." Her breath quickened. Her? Who else were they involved with? It was time to act. "We need to leave," she urged, but Michael shook his head, his resolve hardening.
No.
"We're not leaving until we get proof." With a mix of dread and adrenaline thrumming through her, Sarah summoned every ounce of bravery. "We need to create a distraction," she whispered. "If we can cause a panic, we might get them out of here." Anna nodded, her eyes sparkling with electric determination. "I'll start something light. Give you guys time to dig through their stuff for clues. I've got your backs." The plan was simple, but perilous. Anna slipped away, preparing to set off a yell that would rattle the walls. The moment she stepped away, panic kicked in.
"Now,"
Sarah whispered urgently as Anna let out a deafening shout. Startling the group and the chaos, Michael darted to the table, quickly rifling through papers. Sarah felt the heat of adrenaline surge within her as she grabbed a few scattered papers, clutching them tightly, but fear clawed at her thoughts. What if they were caught? Time felt liquid, slipping away as tension stretched thin. "Let us go," Michael urged, but Sarah hesitated. She couldn't leave just yet. She needed answers, closure, something to take away from this nightmare.
"Wait,"
she exclaimed, dropping one of the papers, eyes scanning it fervently. There was a name, a number, a next meeting. This could lead us to the truth. Just then, the door slammed open. "Stop right there," shouted a harsh voice, echoing like thunder in the quiet room. Panic surged through Sarah. They had been caught. She turned, breaths quickening as fear crashed into her resolve. Michael stood ready to fight, but Sarah knew they had to keep moving. "I have what we need," she yelled, adrenaline igniting her courage. "Let us go." They bolted, racing back toward the entrance, hearts pounding with urgency. The sounds of angry shouts mixed with their escape, and for a moment, time fractured, suspended in the mixture of hope and dread. As they burst outside, fresh air flooded their lungs, but they could feel the shadows pursuing them. "We can't stop now," Michael gasped, pushing himself forward, while Anna waited by the car, eyes wide with fear and anticipation. "What did you find?" she asked hurriedly, her voice filled with urgency. It was time. They had the leads. They had the drive. Names, numbers, Sarah panted, heart racing with exhilaration. This is just the beginning. In that moment, they weren't just pursuing the ghosts of their past. They were reclaiming their futures. As they sped away, the weight of their journey pressed on their shoulders, but a small flicker of hope ignited within them. They would find the truth, no matter how deep they had to dig. Each dark secret they unearthed brought them closer together and further from the shadows that had defined their lives for too long. And as Sarah glanced back, she felt a sense of clarity wash over her. This was her moment, her turning point. She was ready to face whatever came next. Now is the time to take action. You need to subscribe now to never miss out on these incredible stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure we keep delivering more heartfelt journeys. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this emotional conclusion. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation and be inspired. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support for the channel.